Welcome to Life Happened, the place where people send in their very personal life stories for us to share with you. You can make a huge difference in their lives by sharing your feelings and advice for them in the comments below. My name is Stella, your host, and this story is from Rebecca. Dear Stella, my name is Rebecca, and my childhood wasn't as great as many people may think it was. My mother wasn't around after my father passed away. She had her endeavors that didn't include me, I guess. I was 6 years old when she traded me off to some people that they said would take care of me while my mother, quote, needed her space, unquote, so to speak. Note, selfish is as selfish does. Hence, I lived in a group home and foster home to foster home. I gave her the space. However, I grew up angry at her. Why didn't she come back for me? Was I that bad? Did she love me? Did I love her? Questions that I just couldn't find the answers to. I'm 24 now with a loving husband and 2 beautiful sons. We are as happy as can be. But sometimes I still think about my mother. Note, that's only natural and actually very kind of you. Where had she gone? Was she looking for me? Questions I quickly put aside because I couldn't worry about her anymore. I had to take care of my family now. It was my husband's and my monthly date night, and we decided to take a walk on the beach and talk, look at the stars, and maybe even go dip our toes in the water. It was an enchanted night, until we saw this person hunched over about 20 feet away from us, gasping for air. My husband ran over and immediately began the Heimlich maneuver. After about 25 seconds, which felt more like 25 minutes to me, something flew out of this person's mouth. Not sure what it was, but it landed in the sea, so it was up to the fish to find out now. The person thanked my husband and went to shake his hand goodbye, but then I recognized her and told her to stop before she continued. The person turned around and looked at me straight in the eye. Mom? I questioned. Note, you must have been quite surprised and a bit nervous. And now would be a great time to hit the like button for this very intriguing story. She replied, "Who? I ain't got no kids," in a slurred speech. I looked again and knew that was her, despite what she had just said. I called her by her real name. Clara? It's me, Rebecca. She took a hard look at me. "Oh, hey, Regina," immediately forgetting my name. We had to catch up, and she told me about how she had nowhere to live and no money. I ushered my husband away from her so we could talk. "Do you mind if she stayed the night? Give her a little cash and then send her in the morning?" He had a concerned look on his face.
I don't think that's a good idea. She reeks. Doesn't even know your name. And what would the children think?"
I paused and thought about my sons who meant the absolute world to me. Would I be putting them in danger, I questioned. They won't even know she's there. It's late now. They should be asleep and she'll be gone before they wake for breakfast. I begged. He sighed.
"Fine, but just for tonight."
I smiled. "Thanks, love." Note, even with all of your questions about your mother's love for you, you still had the kindness to take her in. I went over to tell my mom the news. We arrived home and got her settled in and said our goodnights. I woke early in the morning excited because I wanted to make breakfast for my mom, which is something we hadn't done in a long time. I went to wake her as she slept in the guest room down the hall. When I entered, she was nowhere to be found in her room. I became concerned. Where could she have gone? Before I left to find her, I could tell that something was off about the room, but I just couldn't put my finger on it. I went downstairs to the kitchen. I don't remember screaming, but my husband came downstairs in a rushed manner and stood next to me as we both stared at the clear and empty kitchen before us. We had been robbed. Note, wow. Now this is gripping and something which none of us probably predicted. Immediately, my first instincts were to go check on my children, and they were fine. And my husband went to check the rest of the house.
Nothing else seemed missing, but my mother was. Had she stolen my stuff? Where had she gone? I was aware that the lamp, which was in the guest bedroom, was missing as well. After that, I never saw her again. I moved on. Restocked my kitchen, of course. I questioned her actions for the rest of my life. Did she love me? Did she only care about my things? I eventually gave up on the questions and now live happily with my family. But I wonder if I should have ever gone to look for her. Thank you, Rebecca, for your story. I'm sure it was probably difficult for you to write. We appreciate you sending us your letter. I will now give my thoughts and opinions relating to Rebecca's life experience. I believe Rebecca's mother was not at all capable of loving anyone, not even herself. She didn't even know her daughter's name when they met on the beach. How disgraceful. Some people are not meant to be parents. They may have good qualities, but not much common sense as to how to care for their children. Rebecca's mother seems to be that type of person. And dear Rebecca was not ever given any reason why she was given up and placed in foster homes in the first place. This must still weigh on her mind, even though she appears to be living a wonderfully happy life with her husband and 2 sons. I feel awful for Rebecca for not having the adequate answers, but she has moved on, and I am so happy for her. Also, Rebecca must never, ever put the blame on herself. Her mother obviously did not want to be bothered by motherhood. It is Rebecca's mother's mental and psychological issues which caused the pain for Rebecca. In a way, one must feel sorry for Rebecca's mom. But after stealing from her own daughter, now that just goes way too far. Apparently, Rebecca's mother was not too ill to rob her daughter, who was kind enough to take her mother in for the night. Appalling. I can understand why Rebecca does not care to continue looking for her mother. Perhaps one day Rebecca will seek the advice of a mental health professional and try to work out her issues regarding her mother. Until then, we all wish Rebecca and her amazing family lives filled with love, kindness, and sunshine. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed listening to Rebecca's story today. So perhaps you may have a comment, opinion, question, or answer to Rebecca's story. If so, we would like to hear from you. And you can read other people's comments and opinions below relating to this letter. And remember that by liking and subscribing to Life Happened, you will hear me read letters every week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, which people send us about issues they are dealing with in their lives. These are real-life personal stories and people's everyday experiences. And don't forget, if you have a personal story or issue which you would like to share with us, please send us an email using the email provided in the description box below. We would be very happy to hear from you. We thank you for joining us today here on Life Happened. See you next time, and have a wonderful day.